The ability to keep reinventing yourself, to keep growing, is one of the best things you can do for yourself as a parent. I tell people something that you must keep growing with your children. You can't be static in parenting. I think one of the best things that happened to me in this journey as a parent was about 3 years ago when it hit me that my kids are growing and I can't afford to be the same kind of parents, that I have to evolve, I have to grow. It just hit me that I might not at that point have what it takes to raise twins and teens in this generation. And what do I, that I need to grow to become the mother, to become the parent that they needed. And that put me on a growth sprout. As a parent, you should know that you are not Methuselah. You are not the arbiter of all wisdom and knowledge. So we must be open to growth. We must be open to learning. And this takes humility. It takes a level of strength to know that you as a parent, you as a human, need to evolve, need to learn, need to open up yourself to new information, new experiences, so you can be the kind of parent that your children need part-time. Because I realized that the parent I was to them when they were toddlers will not suffice in this stage of their lives. And that reality check came one day. I was talking with my kids and something happened, and the way I reacted, I saw fear flash in their eyes concerning my anticipated reaction. And it hit me that whatever it was I was doing with them when they were younger that was working, if I continue at this point, it's going to be counterproductive. For example, I used to tell them when they were younger, I am first your parent before being your friend. In fact, I tell them a lot, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. And it was okay for that stage of their life. I needed to be that kind of mother that says it and stick to it and just tells you what to do. But they grow to a certain point where I have to learn to grow to becoming their friends. Because when they were younger, just being the authoritative adult that helped to create and set boundaries and enforce boundaries was okay. But they grow to a certain point. The kind of parents they need is a parent that can help walk them through the whys and wherefores of things. Because for me, that is the only way you know that whatever value it is will stay. That whatever value it is you are trying to instill, they will take it even outside your presence, outside your home, because they understand the why behind what you are doing. And evolving to becoming their friend put me in that place where they can confide in me, where we can talk. And it wasn't an easy transition for me. But because I have made up my mind, it was an intentional thing. I have to put myself in that space where I have to learn what it takes to be the friends that be the kind of parent where they can come to me with anything whatsoever and talk to me about anything, where they can confide in me about their insecurities, about some emotions that are raging through them that they didn't understand or they don't understand. And when I made that decision and started making effort to opening myself to that growth, to that level of growing as a parent, within about 12 months, I started seeing the results. When they started coming to me with things that, some of the things that I have fear, will I know when this is happening? Will they be comfortable enough carry me through these experiences when they start going through them? And by themselves, they started coming to me with these things. And it keeps getting better by the day. One of the things I did and I still do to keeping me youthful, first in my mind, is that I open myself to youthful knowledge. If I may say, I open myself to youthful people. The people I follow on social media, I go to Twitter, I follow the GenZs, I follow the very young people. I just silently stay there on their pages. I just go there and read comments. I want to understand how their mind works. I want to understand how they see things. There was one very instructive thread I happened on one of these days on Twitter about sleepover, because I've always maintained that I don't allow my children to sleep over in anybody's house. For my daughter, it has only happened once. In fact, for the two of them, the only time they have slept anywhere outside of our home without me being there, maybe 2 times. One in my sister's house, and then when my daughter's best friend wanted to leave the country, they had to beg for that, and me and the mom, we had to agree, and then they just went to one house or the other, and we had our set rules on how that happened. I was never comfortable with sleepovers. So reading this comment on this particular trade on Twitter, I realized that was a great decision I made. These are millennials, these are Gen Zs, recounting their experiences, things that happened in these sleepovers that their parents never knew happened. And many of them still never know happened. It was mind-boggling. And they had stories. They had stories. Things that happened with them, the girls, the boys, some adults in those houses, so many outrageous things. And then one of the girls said, she said something, she said she wished her mom was a little bit more strict with her, that she wasn't as liberal as she was for her growing up, that it would have protected her. Opening myself to this kind of traits, let me get how they see things, what works for them, because there they are open to say so many of the things that their parents did, especially the millennials, that they thought the parent worked, and how they were able to game it. So it makes me to also understand, even when I'm setting boundaries and setting rules, how do I measure the effectiveness of these boundaries and rules? How do I get them? How do I partner with these children in making sure that these rules, these boundaries are enforced properly, so that I'm not deceiving myself? I don't want to live in a fool's paradise. So I keep opening myself to their way of life, to the books they read. I sit with them, I watch their movies. As best as I can, I read their books. I let them talk to me about their experiences, about what they like, about what they don't like. Not just with my children. I expose myself a lot of times to young people, and I give them freedom to talk, to be free around me. They come to my house, they are free, they talk. I'm doing my stuff, like not intruding, but my ears are open to hear the things they say and the things they don't say, to understand their psychology, and then put myself in that place where we can work with one another, where they are free with me, whether they are my children or the children that hangs around me, where they are, so we are growing together. I tell people, you raise your children, they raise you. We are raising ourselves. So some of these things about their world and about their experience, I let them teach me. I get them to teach me. I humble myself. I come out, I want to hear from them. I want to understand. They understand a lot of things about their world, about the digital space. You think they don't, they do. So I just keep evolving with them. I let them help coach me through some of these things. So I don't sit back. I don't say, oh, that is for young people. Oh, I thought this space is for... No, wherever my children are playing, I'm playing there. They have left us on WhatsApp. They have moved to Discord. I have moved with them. I need to understand that space. I might not be active there, but I need to understand how that space works and what it does for them and the potentials, both for good and for evil. Because how can I correct or control what I don't understand? It's not enough to say, oh, social media is bad. Social media is not bad. It's for us to learn to understand that space well enough to be able to guide them through with our experiences as parents. So I need to understand how that space works so I can guide. I can't say anything is for young people, and makes it easy. So I open myself. And one of the things I've realized about opening myself to their experiences, that even makes me feel younger, beyond looking younger. I actually feel very alive. Growing so much as a parent that sometimes they say some things and I respond accurately and they are like, Mommy, you know these things. I say, yes, I'm a Gen Z. And because they will say, ask me olden days, I'll say, please, who is your olden days here? I'm a Gen Z, please. And we have fun with that. You shouldn't, as parents, take ourselves too seriously. You should not have that all-knowing appearance, ever ready to advise. Sometimes they don't need your advice. Sometimes what they need is just for you to listen, for you to hear them. And you can't hear them if you don't listen. It's when you have heard them, then the next stage is for you to validate their experiences. When you have validated their experiences, you can now guide them. So it starts from, you must hear them. At the stage when your children have become twins and teens, your job most often is to listen to them. They must feel heard. They must feel understood. And you can't do that if you don't let them express themselves. And then when they say these things, validate that experience. Because as parents, we forget too quickly what we were like when we were their age. It's almost like we are perfect. We didn't make those mistakes. We didn't have those feelings. We just have this. I don't know how parents think that we are shocked that your 12-year-old daughter or your 12-year-old son is having emotions about the opposite sex. Are you for real? It's natural. What you do is to guide them through that experience, to help them set the right boundaries that will protect them. Not accepting that it's possible is living in denial. And if your children are not comfortable enough to come share these feelings, these raging emotions at that stage, then you are moving on a very risky ground because you are opening them up to outside influence. That is when you are letting social media now coach them. There are friends that don't know any better to coach them. Or worse still, there are friends that knows too much to coach them. So you must grow with them. You must be young together. I know something happened yesterday. I had one experience with my son yesterday that was both humbling and also gratifying at the same time. Sometimes we don't know when these children just grow and mature. He's 14, and here he was talking to me not longer as a 14-year-old, a child, but as a human being with a valid opinion about some things that I was doing, about some things I was doing with my siblings that he has seen from the sideline. And he felt I could do it differently to get a better result. And yesterday, we were just the two of them, us together, and something came up and he opened up and said, I don't think, Mommy, I don't think the way you did this and this was okay. I'm thinking, and he was correct. He was right. He was apt. In fact, I believe that God used him to open my eyes to some things. And he said it. And for me, it was humbling that it took him to get that. But again, I was very proud and happy with myself and their father because I felt we have done quite a good job in the sense that for him to have that boldness and freedom to talk to me, his mom at 14, at that level, is something. For him to have confidence in his voice and the validity of his opinion says a lot about the kind of parenting we have done with him and the kind of environment we have created for them in our home. And for me, it was like I was happy, but I was humbled. I was also humbled that my son has grown. I was telling the dad this morning, our son is becoming a man. And the very funny thing was this morning again, the father was saying the same exact thing. We are having a random conversation around something, and somehow we still got round to this, and he was saying the same thing. I even had to ask him, did you have this conversation with UJ? He was shocked, saying no. I said, because that was when I started sharing with him. That was exactly what he was saying to me last night. He was 40. He is 14. So, and for that to happen is because we are friends. He was comfortable with me as his friend because I agreed to become his friend. You know, sometimes you grow up, sometimes you have to grow down. You grow up to a certain point in certain area, but for your life to be balanced, you have to grow down. And that growing down is you getting younger, getting in the minds of, so you can become you can stay relevant for a longer period of time, not just stay up there. Mrs. Mommy and Mr. Daddy, I have decided I'm never going to get old. I will keep growing. I'll keep growing, opening my mind to new stretches, whether it's to stretch up or to stretch down. I'm going to do it, but I have committed myself. I'm going to be in this assignment for as long as it takes. And for me to be that relevant, I have to keep growing with them, keep growing with the time and make adjustments. But my hope is that these conversations will help each and every one of us to learn together to be the best parents that we can be. Keep thriving.